I do want to touch on Katrina's comment in the chat real quick, because I think that that's a very real barrier to entry, if you will, is that the demands and support that they experience on the job, they meaning our workforce that they experience on the job, gets in the way, right? So that Burnson by Deloitte report tells us that 2 out of 3 workers struggle to find time to do their own jobs. And that was the Modern Learner by Burnson by Deloitte. And that's a very real thing. So if 2 out of 3 people are struggling just to do their day jobs, finding time to do or participate in their own professional growth and development is going to be a struggle as well.
I think there's a piece there too, that they often get punished for taking the time away for that development. So I think as learning development professionals, we can do a lot to support them, but until that change happens with their managers and with leadership to support them and to give them the space for learning, I think we are kind of spinning our wheels.
Yeah, I agree. I was just having a conversation an hour before this meeting about that very thing that, we want to make sure, and this was even with like new hire, onboarding, or new hire experiences that people are eager to get into their role. And so, I was trying to flip it all needs to be done in like 2 days or 3 days. And I was like, but what if it were like, it's like, there's an hour a day or 3 hours a week or whatever for a certain amount of time that is dedicated, and that the manager is supportive of people learning those things about being a new hire. And it goes back to a lot of the questions or comments in here about the ongoing sponsorship support. Is that something that that unless there's a learning culture um that comes, I think, from the very top that says, yes, this is important for all of us to do this. You know, we're limited. Like, you have in your thing, we can, bring the horse to water. We can't make them drink. So how do we, how do we provide those experiences that are still flexible enough that people can do it, and that it's a pull and not a push? Because the other thing is in my organization, a lot of people just equate learning with the mandatory kind of compliance training.
Right.
And I mean, and then there's a bolus of that, especially up front when you start, like where there's no context, but you have to do it in order to do even like touch a machine or work on a process. So, um, yeah, I just think it's not necessarily, it's an afterthought sometimes, or if there's a little bit of time, maybe you squeeze something in and then you look at things. But I think so much of it comes from the individual and their own motivation to prioritize it. Like, I don't think that we can necessarily prioritize it.
For them, right? Right?
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Shannon, I was thinking more fundamentally, like if we're creating inspired self-directed learning, what's our jumping off point? Or and thank you, Maureen, for bringing it up, the push-pull. Obviously, you have a different starting point if you have an eager beaver who is, again, since somebody threw out onboarding training, eager to learn about the position in the company and yada, yada, yada. So we got to push a bunch of resources to them, but it's a lot different with the pull individual. And are we starting from that perspective, or what perspective in looking at how to motivate?
Yeah, I think that what I found was when we put together programs to encourage people in self-directed learning, some people took it and ran with it and absolutely saw the benefit for them personally, for their growth and everything. And we often saw them then move into positions and get opportunities within the organization that they might not have had. And then they became the source of inspiration for other people who didn't quite grab it and run with it. They saw the person getting the promotion over them, getting the higher salary, getting the recognition, and that was their inspiration. So I think we don't always have to be the inspiration. We can try and, a bit like a pebble dropping in water, we can start the ripple effect, and then other people can also be an inspiration to others.
I was going to suggest one of the ways that we can do that is to kind of ease people into learning. And one of the things that I found that seems to be growing in popularity and is very enjoyable is short animations with Beyond. Everybody, I think we all grew up watching cartoons, and who doesn't like enjoy watching a little cartoon explainer video to kind of ease you into a topic or something like that. So I think that's, if we're going to go like, what are the brass tacks about how to get moving on developing something that's inspiring, I would suggest that. I don't know if it's a user interface everybody can learn, or if it's more particular towards people with a development mindset. But I think it's a great tool, and I've seen a lot of companies using it just to kind of show a cartoon to introduce somebody to a topic.
You know, that's an interesting idea. I can see how you could use this. So if you created, regardless of if it's a animated video or if it's a business sponsor video, you know, talking about the importance of professional growth and development, you could have a topical video that sits somewhere that says, this is why you should go down this path, XYZ path. This
Right,
is,
right.
if you learn more about XYZ topic, this is how it's going to affect your career development within this organization. Right? So they could be leaders, they could be leader videos, not necessarily teaching somebody something, but it's like, all right, what do I want to learn today? And then you can have these topical type of videos that say, did you want to learn about basket weaving? Well, click here. We're going to tell you why, how, the purpose for, etc. And I think that that could be a great lead on to build interest into something, because as you all said, you don't know what you don't know. And brain science tells us that when people are put in front of a multitude of options.
And I like to say, break the template too. You know, if somebody doesn't have the design skills or the knowledge about something like Beyond, or the subscription, if you're at an organization that won't, you know, fund it, you know, there's ways to introduce people to a new topic through a scenario or storytelling or something like that. That's one way we can kind of, you know, walk somebody down the primrose path of wanting to learn more, is by, like you said, you know, suggesting to them what are the benefits if they, you know, learn more in this area. You know, maybe they don't know, maybe they're just, you know, they just new to the area or the topic or whatever, and we need to kind of show them more of the bigger picture through a creative story. Well, anybody can write a creative story. Well, not anybody, but I mean, it doesn't take development dollars and software and stuff to write a story that you can put into, you know, an intro. So that's all I was suggesting.
And I agree. I think the biggest thing that we can do within our own positions right now is to be that connector. You know, to be that connector of knowledge, to be that curator of knowledge, to be the champion, you know. And can we fix a learning culture within our organizations? No. And you're spending valuable energy trying to change something that isn't there. You know, because we don't own learning, right? We don't own it. We might be part of the function, but we don't own it. People learn their own learning, as I've seen you guys say in the chat. So our job is to, how can we help point people in the right direction and make this a tastier bit?
I was going to say, I recently spoke to someone and they were asking what I did, and I explained to them that I had a multimedia design background that I kind of parlayed into adult learning and developing e-learning. And they said, oh, e-learning. Oh God. Oh, you're one of those people that make that boring stuff.
Yes, that's the reputation we have. Unfortunately, there's a perception issue that we have as a learning industry as well, all around that could be a whole other hour's worth of conversation. which is how do we break the mold of our own branding that we've done for ourselves.
I think we should
So
make it more like writing for TV or film.
I totally
Keep
agree
my
with
mouth
you there. Totally agree with you.